Maybe it's a setting on this HyperX thing. Oh, you know what it is?
You sound good. You sound good.
Oh, how is it now?
It's great. That's great.
Better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Need me to be louder? Okay, there's this.
Yeah.
I haven't had
That was
surround
perfect.
sound on.
That was
Okay.
perfect. Yeah.
All right, I just turned it up.
I did
That's
not.
why I've been so quiet. Because
I
I
did
think
not have sexual relations with Miss Lewinsky.
Sorry,
That
guys. We're going to Bill Clinton here. How
We're
was
gonna
it?
have to.
Can you hear it?
It's worse than it was before. You sound out of practice.
All right, man.
Personally.
I'll personally do it, not on a podcast and on my own.
Yeah. We we started, I guess. Welcome. Joining me is John Cohen and Jeremy Robbins. I'm Max Ward. John Cohen and Jeremy both are too afraid to start their camera. So,
actually,
Jeremy
it
doesn't
has nothing
have.
to do with fear.
Jeremy
Yeah.
doesn't have a camera. He's poor. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Very elitist of you. Man.
Rather than getting
No,
a webcam, I bought a
we're all-
$140 mouse.
We're all poor. Yeah, we all have weird priorities. Jeremy's is gaming stuff. John, how was do you ever start your camera up or?
Yeah, I just look like shit right now, and trust me, I'm making the best decision right now for all of us and for our listeners and viewers, not to show what I look like right now.
Well, maybe don't look like shit before you.
Fair enough, Max Ward. Fair enough.
You've known about this for a while. 2 days.
Fair enough. I got attacked by a bear, so my
One
face.
man's shitty look is another man's good look.
This is true, man.
Like
I'm sure
Ryan
you look-
Reynolds on a bad day, I'd take it.
I'm sure you look great, but it's up to you.
All right, let me get a hat, and I'll turn on my camera in like a minute. Let me find a good hat. So how are you guys? What's new? What's going on?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys the same thing.
Working for
I'm good.
an ophthalmologist. That's all that's new.
Mhm.
My
I've-
ability to assimilate information about medical things is incredible for 2 weeks. Already got like every code like memorized. Like, yeah, like did you know that after 20% of cataract surgeries, they get a posterior capsular opacification, and they need to use a YAG capsulotomy to remove that? Basically, scar tissues develops after the cataract's removed, so they have to use a laser, which is from yttrium, aluminum, and what the fuck is it? Garnet, and like they impurify it because it's a semiconductor. And yeah, all right, I'm not going out anymore.
What are you eating? What are you chowing on? It sounds like a cereal. Hello?
Hey,
Can anyone hear me?
Did you get rid of
ice
the
cream.
Biden sign in the basement? Did you get rid of the political Biden sign, or did your dad?
Yeah,
need it?
no, yeah, we burned it. No, we put it on the yard, man. It's on the
Nice.
yard. Yeah.
Very cool.
Living Biden pride.
Riding with Biden, my man. I'm with you. I'm right. I'm
Biden
right.
pride in.
Biden in Biden.
Hmm.
I'm Biden time now. So what else is new?
Is
Alright,
it still?
So I have 2 things I want to get into.
Well, I wanted to
when it
start.
comes to,
Not to cut you off. I wanted to start with like a little like opening thing. So the what I wanted to do this week was just like talk about each of our what's inspiring us this week, or this couple. Yeah, I guess the past week. Like, what have you been watching or reading or anything that's been inspirational to you creatively? Jeremy, we'll start with you. You can
all
go
right.
since I cut you off.
Okay. So here is the plan. Okay.
Here is the plan.
All right. So I've been reading up on tidal-locked planets. Okay. All right. So a tidal-locked planet is basically what you guys referred to as a geosynchronous orbit. It means there's no tides. It literally, it's facing the sun at the same time all the time.
Like our moon.
Right. Yeah.
Is facing us, not the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
like, I was reading, like, what would happen in a tidal-locked planet, right? Well, there needs to be a way for if there's going to be life on a tidal-locked planet, there needs to be a way for energy transfer to exist, right? Or heat transfer, okay? That can be done by a place having a very, very thick atmosphere. Or perhaps it could have some, like, artificial means for that to occur. But if there's no heat transfer, like, you basically have one place that's too hot to support life and another place that's just cold, barren with no life. And a cool thing to think about is, like, Isaac Asimov wrote a book about tidal-locked planets that people lived in eternal daylight, right? And they were in, like, a twilight. And the people in that had, like, an extreme fear of darkness to a point where, like, they actually had, like, a biological reaction to it. And it was just something to think about, you know? It, like, got my mind thinking all sorts of things about what it would be like for people to live in a world where they're internally in sunlight and how they might perceive darkness. Secondarily,
and why is this all this relevant? I guess
it's relevant because Tartara is a tidal-locked planet.
Mm-hmm.
And the beings there are living in eternal sunlight. So
yeah, I forget why did we initially decide on doing that? I can't remember the train of thought that got us to that point, but I remember it was pretty cool. I just don't remember why.
Well, you and John presented that idea to me.
I think it was the idea of, for me, it was the idea of the eternal autumn. So having a city that was just constantly in fall, because fall is my favorite season. So I felt like the side of the planet is facing toward the sun at all times. So as you go further north, it would get colder. Yeah. So like midway between would be like that perfect spot where it's just constantly fall. And I thought that was cool. I don't know like if that was the first thought, but it was one of them.
I think that's what led into it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in a tidal-locked planet, there wouldn't be seasons, right? I mean, there wouldn't be change in seasons, right? So it would make sense that there's a place that could exist there with eternal autumn. Or a place there that would be, you know, closer to winter, or just a place that's, like, always hot as shit, right? So.
What's that, do you know that Isaac Asimov book that you were talking about?
I was thinking about buying it.
What's it
actually,
called?
I was going to order it, but I have to.
Yeah, what was it called? Do you remember? I can try to look it up. We gotta check.
He referred to, I'm not sure what the book is. He referred to it as a ribbon world.
John got me to read an Isaac Asimov book a long time ago, about a year ago. It was Caves of Steel, and I love that book. It's awesome.
So I have to figure out what the book is, because I was thinking about ordering it. I was at work Googling it, and I went down a rabbit hole for some other person who's like a writer who wrote a book about tidal-locked planets, and he used Isaac Asimov as an inspiration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me see if it's on Wikipedia here.
John, do you have anything that's been inspiring you particularly this week?
Yeah, I have too. I've been reading some graphic novels. I've been going back and reading some old Batman stuff. one of my favorite things I've read this week is Batman Gotham by Gaslight. It's a pretty cool story. It's a Victorian era Batman.
Ooh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. So DC had a lineup maybe a while back called Elseworlds. So it's one of their first. They take an existing character and put them in like a different continuity. So this is Victorian era Batman, and the villain in this one is Jack the Ripper. So I thought that was kind of cool. So
Cool.
yeah, Victorian era Batman versus Jack the Ripper. It wasn't the best thing I've ever read. I think it could have been longer. I have some issues with it, but overall, I read the collection that was, it was called Gotham by Gaslight, followed by Masters of the Future. So it was like 2 stories combined into 1 volume. The second story wasn't as great as the first story, but the concept itself was entertaining. So there's some stories with the issues with the story, but overall, I think it was a cool thing to like read in an interesting world that I was able to immerse myself in. And the second thing I read was The Doom That Came to Gotham. That is a one-off Batman story similar to Gotham by Gaslight. That is sort of if Lovecraft had written a Batman story. So that was another, yeah.
I love that.
H.P. Lovecraft and Batman. So yeah, I definitely recommend those 2 if you have time. So yeah, that's what's making me happy this week.
Lovecraft is great. Do you feel like Jack the Ripper is a good villain for Batman? Is he like?
He could be. I don't think the presentation of Jack the Ripper in this iteration, I don't think was very successful in my opinion, but it was definitely an interesting take. There's so much to the Jack the Ripper lore that they could have done, and I don't think they really tapped into it fully or captured that. Because when you hear Jack the Ripper, when you hear Batman, that sounds like a cool, like, interesting concept or story, but it wasn't fully utilized, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I just think of like a shadow in a top hat, like walking across a cobblestone bridge at night. That's like all I can. That's the only thing I know about Jack the Ripper.
Do you care about spoilers? Or is that something like if I spoil it, or do you feel like would you rather I not?
Well,
jump into like this.
Give a little bit, I guess. I mean, use your best judgment, man. I don't know anything about it.
Might I interject for a second?
Sure.
So not to completely change topics, but the book, and I basically wikied the shit out of this. The book that Isaac Asimov wrote is called Nightfall. All right?
Yeah.
And the planet
cool.
has 6 stars, and they all rotate, so it's constantly illuminated.
Okay.
There you go. Sorry to jump into that.
Yeah.
The stars is interesting, yeah. All right. Thank
6
you for that.
suns, rather. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah. For I don't know. Should we do me now?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah. Spider-Man
Get
Blue.
into Jack the Ripper, right?
Yeah, I wanted to talk more about Jack. I mean,
basically,
Jack the Ripper as a Batman villain has so much potential. I'm curious.
Jack the Ripper is basically had the person who portrayed Jack the Ripper was infatuated with Bruce Wayne's mom, and so because she rejected Jack the Ripper as a love interest, he became infatuated with like killing women, and so he may or may not be responsible for the death of Victorian Batman's parents. So it's a cool story. You should check it out and see how that develops. If it's something I recommend it.
Cool.
Bruce Wayne's mom has got it going on.
All right.
Okay. Well, moving on.
Stacy's mom. Bruce Wayne, can you see? You're just not the girl for me.
So for me this week, the one thing I had in mind was Spider-Man Blue, because John, you got me Spider-Man Blue as a birthday gift, and Spider-Man Blue is like a collection of 8 or so issues that are kind of like the background, like what's happening behind the scenes in Spider-Man's life. But it's like he's telling the whole story from like through a cassette tape, or what is it, audio recording device. and he's like talking to Gwen Stacy, who, spoiler alert, is dead. And I don't know, it was just really cool. I also wanted to tell you that I really liked it. It gave me a lot of Clark ideas. So just like the energy of it, the energy of the dialogue, and like, I don't know, it made me realize that Clark, as it's written now, is lacking some kind of energy. So I've been trying to get that back into it. And also the art style is so good, because it's very simplistic, and everything's very hand drawn. Like buildings in the background are like, if you look at the lines, I mean, they're wavy, they're clearly hand drawn. It's just like, why am I obsessing over, I tend to obsess over, you know, straight lines and perfect looking things in the background. It's just, it kind of freed me up to think like, hey, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, everything, you know, it looks better if there's some sort of hint that a person drew this with their hands and stuff like that. So yeah, really cool book. And that's really it. I mean, Last of Us Part 2 has been hugely influential in my entire life for like a long time, like a month. So
Can I piggyback off something you had mentioned? Question: what kind of energy do you feel like Clark is missing? Do you feel like how do you feel like Clark is missing? Is it sort of I don't know. That's a weird thing to articulate, but what do you think Clark could use, or what do you think is missing?
Yeah, I guess it's a hard thing to kind of articulate, because I think when a story is just kind of presented as like A, B, and C happen, and like kind of what you're seeing in the panel is the same as the dialogue. Like the dialogue is kind of directly referencing everything that's seen in the panel. I mean, and I'm thinking like there should be two things going on. There should be a storyline being told just with the dialogue, and then it should only like minorly reference the panels that are going on. And I mean, they should complement each other, but it's just more dynamic, I think, if like two things are going on. And one thing that I've been missing is Clark doing narration at the beginning, like where is he in his life, and what's actually going on. And so I think I've nailed that part down. I know exactly what's happening when he's talking, and I think it just made it like way I don't know, there's more intrigue, and it's just more exciting. It
cool,
gives, yeah. So I want to talk with you about it without spoiling. It's hard to talk to you about it without spoiling it, but
off mic.
We got to talk off mic. Yeah.
All right. So get this. All right. So back to Nightfall. Okay. If that's okay, we don't have to. You can say, Jeremy, shut up. We're talking
back to Nightfall.
No,
dude.
All right. So get this. So the people in Nightfall are called Lagosians, right? And in that book, there's 6 suns, right? And the scientists find out that there's actually a moon that's hidden out of the sunlight that's going to cause an eclipse like once every 2,000 years. Here's the thing. Psychological experiments have revealed that Lagosians have an instinctive fear of the dark and have never experienced a prolonged period of widespread darkness. They also revealed that after even as little as 15 minutes in the dark, they get permanent mental damage. And that eclipse was supposed to last for several hours. I just think that's like an insane thing to think about, because that gets you thinking about so many different things, right?
For a while, I thought we were going to have an eclipse aren't we still going to have an eclipse kind of in Tartara at some point?
Well, I mean, there is hints at eclipses possibly happening, right? And there's like folklore about it within the story, and it's something I've written in drafts that, you know, certain NPCs or characters would say in regards to it. But what I was trying to pivot from is like if they have an instinctive fear of the dark, that means that's like an evolutionary thing, right? So they like they're biologically programmed that way. That because that planet has their own evolution process, and like as a result they have different drives and they're like have different instincts, right? So like it makes me wonder, it gets you thinking about how to kind of, you know, how to characterize the characters in our story that live in a planet like that. Now I'm not gonna copy it exactly. I don't think permanent mental damage is gonna be that story, but it's something to think about, you know.
Yeah. I love the idea of people just being suddenly consumed by darkness and being like, well, fuck it, let's just like completely just give up, give in, become the darkness, and
Hey,
just
Jeremy,
go crazy.
What?
Question. When they've been immersed in the darkness for such a long time, what is the sudden effect if introduced to like any form of light? Like, do they talk about that at all? Like if they're exposed to light?
I'm just like Wikipediaing plot summaries. I was thinking about ordering this book. I just had to track it down.
I mean, you'd go blind. Like you'd just go, if you saw any sort of sunlight, your eyes just would be completely destroyed.
No, after 15 minutes in total darkness? I don't know.
Oh, after 15?
Yeah.
I thought John was saying
permanent mental damage after 15 minutes in darkness. So he was wondering what would happen to these people if like they were introduced light in that darkness, and I don't know. It doesn't say anything about that.
I thought you were asking John something else. The like, what if you lived completely your entire life and you were evolved to be in darkness, and then suddenly there was light, and like.
I think that's another interesting thing. I think it was more asking that, but Jeremy, like that's an interesting take too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you just sort of like went crazy and then the sunlight came back, would they just completely be normal, or would it be chaos? And I mean, that would really mess with the.
Well,
I mean, that could be fun. Like it's like
in Isaac Asimov's book, they'd all die. And if you were to conceive of like people in the opposite that are always in darkness, well, one, you need energy. You need an energy source for life. So where would that energy come from?
They just
right?
wouldn't.
And then
that's an interesting question. Yeah.
Two, I would think it would be like the similar thing, an instinctive fear of the light for people that live in darkness, right? So, but evolution takes like really long time, millions of years to kind of produce those sorts of differences in physiology. So
this is what I like right here is there is always a solution to every problem because we're creating the problem. Like we're as we write, you're just creating problems that you then have to solve. So you can do anything you want. I mean,
I think focusing on that and other things, not to interrupt you. But
no, that's fine.
Focusing on that and other things, focusing on those details is really what's going to make a world pop. So it might take a little more time in the long run to produce it, but that research can really provide layers and layers. Like I'll give an example. One of John's ideas that really stuck with me when we talked about this is the idea that, you know, people have to receive medicine when they perform magic. Well, he said, what if someone's like almost like a diabetic with magic, right? Like those details are what carries the story. Because like that idea that someone has a different type of physiological reaction to the magic, and like they have different needs in medicine and like different states, it makes you can make the world so much more varied and interesting. And I think that's all I gotta say about that. What?
Yeah, I think the best exercise we ever had or ever did was that one that John, that was initially your idea, was coming up with just taking 5 minutes, you know, in silence and writing down as many characters as we possibly could, and then just like going through them and presenting each one, and then from there just like combining different characters and traits that we liked from other, different ones that we had each made, or just talking about one of them in particular that we liked, and that just like fleshed out the world a lot, like did a lot of work for us that would otherwise have taken us forever.
Yeah.
And then stuff just like preparing for every eventuality, like there's a wide spectrum of people, and like, so John's always good about like, yeah, what about, what if this
John's got that mythological background too, so if you're coming up with characters, he just like, I think he like just like translates from myths into the world that he's thinking about. And I don't know.
Yeah,
Like it's
read a lot of
osmosis.
stuff as a kid. Reading a lot of mythology, immersed. Also being Greek, it's a part of my culture. Yeah, so sort of like permeated like the air around me growing up. Just like reading so much about mythology, and not just like Greek mythology too. I'm also Jewish, so Jewish mythology is really cool. Native American mythology, there's so much. Norse, and then getting into Joseph Campbell and Carl Jung, immersing myself into those guys too, like opened up like new avenues. So yeah.
I think from all those years of just thinking about that and research you've done, you're just like a naturally good at coming up with random names for things for people.
So,
like you could run a really cool D&D campaign. Because
actually, yeah, I've
your
definitely had some successful
yeah.
D&D stuff.
Your NPCs would have the best names. Just
thanks, man.
I don't know how you got. Yeah, I can never come up with names for people.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
It's like the hardest thing for me. I can't do it.
I remember working with you, Max, when we were living in California, and I was staying with you and Joe for a while. I think we had a fun exercise. You came with some really cool band names. I found a list like a couple of days ago. I was looking through some like old boxes now that I'm home, going through stuff. Yeah, I found a cool. Yeah, we came with like indie band names, or I think we were coming up with a name for like the Good Boy website we were trying to work on maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. So, yeah, man, I think you're really good with coming up with.
What were the names?
John, what if I gave you like a list of shit to compile? Because you're good. Like, all right, so like one of the places in Tartara is Alchemic City, right? And alchemy, people imbue items with magic and they have effects, right? Like we've done this before. We have a ton of ideas for that, but I feel like if like we had lists to like give each other to think about in those, like we could compile a bunch of stuff and just like shove a ton of interesting ideas into the world.
We need to make a Google. We need to make a Google Doc that becomes like the compendium
for each. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do it for each one, for sure. So, just other random news.
Notebooks. Sorry, go ahead.
I do have all the notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5, 6 notebooks, front to back, just written on. Some of them scrawled in pretty bad handwriting. Some of them have really good handwriting written in them. So I don't know which is which.
I'm not sitting down right now. Pacing.
Speaking of sitting down, I have had terrible back pain these past 2 weeks at least, and I just thought I should mention that because it's really taken a toll on, I think, drawing as much as I've been doing with the Patreon and stuff like that. Like my neck is compensating also for this back pain, so like now my neck has like cricks in it if I move, and so I'm just like a complete wreck. And I had a virtual doctor's appointment today, and I got prescribed some muscle relaxants. So I'm waiting until after this podcast to take them, and then I'm gonna just have a good night's sleep
Do you feel like
for
because
once.
like your back pain, do you feel like your posture is causing you to want to like to thrive inside a bell tower and talk to gargoyles? Yeah. Do you feel like a calling to talk to gargoyles or inanimate objects inside of a bell tower or anything like that, or thrive inside
No.
the roof of a church or something? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
feel like assisting Dr. Frankenstein with his experiments.
Master.
Yeah.
Master.
Sorry you're not feeling well, man. I hope you feel better.
I've read some horror stories of artists and their back pain issues. Like some have had to have surgery because they have like a slip disc or something, or a spinal thing is like out of place just because of drawing. And yeah, I'm nervous about that. But actually growing like another second spine, like coming out of my first
maybe
spine.
you need to do some
like
work on some of them ancillary muscles. Like,
I have to exercise more.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I hear with back problem, like getting a rope and acting like you're ringing a bell? Like I hear it's good for your back, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll
give that a try.
Similar posture problems, so I need to do more exercises.
Yes. You've seen me. I have shitty posture. I cannot add to any of this conversation, but I hope you feel better, man. I know certain like yoga posing and stretching is supposedly is good. So
I've been doing yoga in the house. Yeah, I've been stretching. Yeah.
So
yeah. From what I remember of yoga.
I know a few. I did yoga like twice, but NBA is coming back in 2 weeks. Oh, just thought I'd mention that.
It's not coming back.
It's coming fucking back.
coming
They're
back.
all in Florida, bro. Right now, all the players are in Florida practicing already, and they all get tested every fucking day. And LeBron has a gray beard, and he looks like the fucking man.
Oh my god. All that stress. I bet.
Dude, he's got a gray beard.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm super
guys.
excited about it.
I want in on that bet. I just don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know anything about basketball,
Dr.
but I
Fauci
know
supported it.
Luka Doncic is a really cool basketball player. I don't know. Have you guys heard of this guy? Have you seen him? Luka
so
Doncic?
anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. See what happens.
Well, MLB's coming back too. It's not just NBA. The MLB
Who
has
cares
some
what
weird.
baseball? Sorry.
I mean, who cares
They
about
ruin it.
sports? Am I right?
Oh my God! Don't you
Right.
say that. Basketball matters.
It
Baseball-
matters. It doesn't matter though.
baseball-
It really doesn't matter.
Baseball climaxed in 2001 when the Red Sox won this World Series. and it's never gonna get hard again.
I would
Right?
say 2004 with the Red Sox.
Wait,
When did
whenever
they
the
win
Red
the
Sox
World-
won their first World Series? I think it was 2001.
That was like 2006.
2004.
Four?
It was 2000. 2006 was the White Sox. No, 05 was the
What?
White Sox. Yeah, remember the Jimmy Fallon fever pitch? That's how I know this.
Oh, it was 04. You're right. It was 04. Wow, I should be ashamed for getting that.
John, we got to have like a segment on this podcast where we just like throw different like movies or TV shows at you, and you just like try to guess like what year they came out.
I'm down, man. So episode 3, we'll incorporate some new segment ideas for sure. So I'm down for that.
Yeah, just because for everyone else, I mean, John, you have this crazy ability to not only name like come up with weird names, but just like come up with just know what date what thing happened in, and I'm like always wrong, and you're just like always right, and I always think you're wrong at first.
Let's try this.
Yeah,
it's
Let's
weird.
try this. What year did The Matrix come out? Max, go.
1999. No hesitation.
1990, 99.
Yeah. You're just saying that because John said it. It's right.
John said 98. What did
No,
John
he
say?
said 99. He said
Oh,
It's on wax, man. I said 99. You go back in the tape.
yeah, it's recorded. There's no debating it. All right. How about Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring?
2001.
2001, yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Did we get it right?
Right again.
Nice. I
Yeah,
think that was the
okay.
one that like I
Wait.
got wrong. I thought it was 2004.
How
at one
about,
point.
Raiders
an
of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
What was the movie?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the
I'm gonna
Lost
go.
Ark.
I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say 70. It's 1976.
83. 83.
Oh, you were wrong. It's 81.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Before Star Wars or after? It's definitely after Star Wars. I should have known. For some reason, I thought it was like just before or at the same time or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But now I remember George Lucas, like, I forget it. He didn't want to hire Harrison Ford as Indy because he was already like, I don't know. Harrison Ford already had a lot of big roles or something. He was already in Star Wars and stuff, so he wanted someone else. Am I completely mixing those two up? I don't know.
When was the Atari 2600 released?
1984.
Pass. I don't know.
1977. Crazy, right?
Have a good night.
I
Wow.
thought it was that long ago. Atari
John,
invested heavily in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the worst game ever created. So, go ahead.
John, first season of The Wire, or when did The Wire start?
I'm going to say 98.
Jeremy?
No. The Sopranos came out. So, fuck, man. I'm going to say
98,
2000.
final answer.
Okay, 2000.
It was 02.
Was that a guess, or do you
No,
you actually
I
know?
Googled it.
Oh, I was trying to get you to guess. Okay.
Yeah, I was not going to guess in the 90s. I'm pretty sure Wire was after that.
Yeah.
But 2002 is a long time ago for that. I didn't realize it was that long ago. Oh, Dexter, bro. That's what I'm 6 seasons deep in Dexter, and I think it's pulling a Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I heard the end was not good. Not to
Hey, something about
does
a
that spoil it?
I know it's, spoiler alert, even though I haven't seen it yet, the end. There's 8 seasons. I heard something about Dexter and a lumberjack and the 8th season being terrible, so we'll see.
Hmm.
But the season with
Wait,
what's that guy's fucking name?
is the last season where it's like a wedding, but like each episode is like a few hours of that wedding?
I don't know. I haven't seen season 8.
What'd I miss?
Don't worry about it. We were talking about Dexter the last season. I don't know about it.
It's like there's like a wedding, and each episode is like an hour of that wedding or something. So there's like a Halloween episode, but it's like all like in a weird time frame.
Oh yeah. It's like the whole show has had like a good pace, and then like the last season just like pushes on the brakes and just like slowly ekes toward the finish line with like really bad storylines and dialogue,
I would
bad
say
jokes.
the wheels come off, and it just keeps going. There's no stopping this thing. So
Yeah, I mean, we finally find out how Dexter meets his next victim, but then
Yeah.
it's just a huge letdown, and that victim, spoiler alert, dies tragically.
it's
And then he just goes back to his old Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hey.
Hello.
No one is available.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna put something in the chat. Max, I request. Hold on, just give it a little bit.
I'm confused. What's
What's
going on?
Is this a prank? Are
What's
you guys
going on?
pranking me?
Yeah.
Here it is. Have you guys ever seen this? It's like stumbled back into my life. Look at that.
Let's see. What is it?
Oh man, I know what it is. Gangster Party Line, is it?
No.
Hold on. Really loud ad playing in my ear. Ah.
This is like.
What am I watching?
Yeah. Sorry to tell you that you have to return to your life of debt.
Celebrity Rehab? No. What is that? Was an ad for something else. What is this? What reality show is this?
Ton of cash. It's called. They're all in debt.
I didn't ever see this. When did it come out?
Like 2006.
Shut up, John. You have no idea.
I don't. You got me there.
Oh my God.
Louder when you win an Oscar.
What do you want, monster?
Clap the loudest.
Hold on, don't play it because we might get
Jam got knocked.
in trouble on YouTube. Hey, cut it out. Okay, well that was insane. Perhaps the best exit from a reality show ever. Now I'm caught in a endless YouTube loop. Jeremy, you're fucking muted, man.
What are you talking about? I'm not muted.
I just unmuted you.
No, I unmuted myself, bitch.
I have the power to unmute you. I
You
can
wanna
take.
talk shit, bitch? Huh?
Talk shit.
Call me.
Max, did you even
Call me.
finish the video? It's all about the end, okay? It's all
I'd
about-
finished the video, man. I saw when he freaked out and he did like an ape, like
Okay, good.
gorilla
That's all
thing.
you need.
Yeah. That's wow. Talk some shit, bitch.
You guys like the
Call me.
dancing coffin memes?
Yes,
that one?
the
That-
Ghanaian funeral memes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are good.
those are pretty good.
And Brent Rambo, dude. Brent Rambo's one of my favorites. Brent Rambo Frizz, you know that one, Max?
Yeah.
No.
That's the kid that does the thumbs up.
Well, all right. Well, we should probably wrap this up. Maybe we can hang out after talk about
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
But yeah, let's wrap this little podcast up. I'll probably have something.
It's devolving into shitty YouTube videos.
It's devolving, man, really fast. It's eroding like
Sometimes
our
people wanna
coastline.
see smut, man.
Sick reference, Max.
Thanks, man. Oh, the world is dying.
All right, let's say goodbye.
So, you can find me on, we are War Hen Comics, and we have a Patreon called War Hen, patreon.com/War Hen Comics is the URL, and we do videos of drawing, and if you give $5 a month, I will draw you a original sketch card, and I'm doing like characters from Clark the Cat too. Now I've decided to just do those. Just get them all out of the way. So I'll just like draw the same character like 3 times or however many times. And that's not the main point of it though. The point of it is just to make a comic book and stuff and kickstart it later and yada yada. John, where can we find you?
You can currently find me nowhere because I'm taking a healthy social media break on all platforms.
Oh my God.
About a week now, you can find me on Twitter at Gotham City JCC. So I'll be back in a week. Just taking a break.
Can you talk about why? Why did you decide to do that?
Because I'm doom scrolling. Every time I scroll, I keep scrolling and scrolling, try to becoming more informed of society. No, it's
Yes.
just it's unhealthy. So I was like, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna get off and stop scrolling for hours and hours, trying to inform myself when I'm just actually hurting myself. So
I do that all the time with Instagram. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
unhealthy.
a problem. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm
See,
happy
I
for
try
you.
to feed myself, but I just wind up hurting myself by eating too much ice cream. It's like, oh, where can I be found?
Besides behind an ice cream shop,
Well,
robbing it.
I mean, I don't think there's any relevant social media platforms for me right now, but
Nah.
down the road to be determined. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm coming out like a rocket. All right.
Like a red rocket.
Dude, my dog used to get a red rocket.
Like a
All
Nash,
right.
a Nash
Red rocket.
All right. Yeah.
He'd get the red rocket, and then he'd go to his furry bed, and he'd show that bed who was boss, man.
All right. So Jeremy can be found at something youtube.com/Peck of Power or something.
No,
Professor Peck.
I lost. Yes, Professor Peck. I lost my old YouTube.
All right. I'll put it up on the screen.
It's
maybe.
like so fucking old that I can't access it. Long story short, don't worry about it. I can't reset the password because it's so fucking old.
Like John's MySpace account.
John
get
still
to.
goes on MySpace.
And yeah, oh yeah, at MaxGBArt is the Instagram that I have. That's it. Everyone, stay safe for one more week, and we'll see you then.
All right. See you guys.
All right.
Wash your hands. Stay inside.
What? Yeah. Bye bye.
I'm gonna go play video games.
Speak. Good boy.